years I would talk about how I wanted to change the world, but I always left it up for someone else to do. But then I finally realized I needed to take a stand, and that by changing my thinking I could change my life. And that's how I could change the world. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. So let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand. I'm gonna stand up for joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Love. I am a stand for joy. I am a stand. We are making a new world now. I know we are making a new world now. I can see it. We are making a new world now.
Greetings, Our guest today again is Reverend Cylvia Hayes. And I had her on once before in the beginning because I knew her and I knew she was a big dog in the social justice world.
You just knew I was willing.
That too. And so later when I knew I was going to do economic justice at this stage, I called to see who she might recommend and she said, "Oh, if I'd known that you were going to do that, I wouldn't have done the first one because that's one of my passions." So I slept on it and prayed on it. And and God said, "You know, late night TV shows have people come repeat." And so I wanted Sylvia here. We will be putting up Sylvia. We already have her on our website, and we will put up a link to her Facebook page and her email pages. And she's been very active. She's a Unity minister, very active in social justice for many years. And her two passions are economic justice and earth justice. So we might have her back a third time. And Sylvia, I'm going to hand it over to you unless there's anything else that you want me to say by way of introduction.
I mean, that's good. I think you would have to add that my third real passion is competitive dog agility, which
Oh yeah.
is actually more addiction at this point than passion, I think. But when you get to the earth justice piece, it'd be interesting to check out the rights of nature movement that has really been
Good.
growing.
Good.
Yeah.
And also, Sylvia just had an article in Spirituality and Health about speciesism, which really touched me a lot. So I want to share about that. And since you brought up the dogs, I have to ask you how did you do? Because
Oh, yeah. We just got back from the National Agility Championships, and we had an awesome trip in my new-ish little trailer. Did not perform as well as I wanted. Olive got just a little bit banged up the night before the real competition started, and she was a little off. And we finished with a good, clean run, but we've been to nationals 3 times, and I was expecting this one was really going to be a notch up, and it wasn't. But we had a great trip. Everybody's healthy. We're all good, and we'll live to try again.
I'm amazed you made it to nationals. That is like over the moon.
It's
So thank you.
it's
I
pretty
wanted
fun.
to ask
Yeah.
about that. Well, tell us how you got started in economic justice and how what the action has been, your action, and just take it away.
Yeah. So I will say, how it really started is I'm a first generation college grad, and I wound up going to First Community College, and then I got into Evergreen State College, which teaches what do they call it? A multi-discipline approach. And so I got into it going into their environmental studies program and then later into the master's in environmental studies program. Well, part of that multidisciplinary approach is they weave macroeconomics into the environmental work. I was at first very resistant to that because I was in that hard line of not everything is about economics. You can't put an economic value on everything, right? But as I was learning, I soon began to realize that problems like climate change, species loss, even entrenched poverty are symptoms of a flawed economic system. So that was really when that kind of lit a fire under me and an interest. And I have been tilting the windmill of changing the whole freaking global capitalistic extraction based economy my whole life. so, so,
Wow.
yeah, it's, and I wrote a piece recently. I would love to have you share this with everybody about this is in my Substack called Transcend. But this piece is about how the current mess, I will not use the word I was wanting to use right there.
Like we'll say frickin' mess, right?
Yeah, yeah, or like CF mess. Um, in Iran, in the Middle East, that is such a demonstration of how insane our economic model is and how it is so much a house built on sand. So that's, and then I guess the other piece to give a little context to this or a layer to it, I also have dealt with poverty most of my life. And really since about 15, 16, when my family fell apart and I wound up, eking through high school, couch surfing and whatnot and doing things. And I know I have lived a whole lot of this life within that crushing pressure of how the hell am I going to pay basic bills? So right now we are, and when I'm talking about the economy, I am talking about our U.S. economy within the context of this global economic system that we now have that is extraction and consumption based. And I'll pull out some pieces of that. But, this is a timely topic because right now, earlier, well, I guess the tail end of last week, we're recording this on a Tuesday, the tail end of last week, the current president put forth a budget asking for 1.5 trillion of our taxpayer dollars for additional military spending after having just been caught in basically an open mic situation where he was caught saying we can't afford daycare. We can't afford health care for everyone. We can't afford basic because we got to fight these wars. That is part of the context that we're existing within. And I will put a period right there. You can pick it up.
Well, the news that came out today is that he's now saying he's going to have to take away, he might have to take away Social Security to fund the war.
Oh, I haven't even heard
And that's
that.
part of my income too,
Yeah.
as an elder person. Yeah, yeah, and I really like how I've been very influenced by James Tallarico. We're not supposed to be partisan, but we can be political. Partisan is duality, us, them, bad, good. And I'll quote a Republican. I love how Ronald Reagan said, in diversity there is strength. Anyway, so James Tallarico is saying that, first of all, in my research, I found out that the billionaires own 90% of our media with all of its algorithms that keep us fighting so that we don't notice that they're picking our pockets by not paying their fair share of taxes. And James Tallarico is saying it's not Democrats versus Republicans, it's upper versus lower. That's
I do believe that. I believe we're more of a classist society even than a racist society at this point, even though racism is still definitely a part of our problem and our DNA. But yeah, we have a different quote criminal justice system. If you have a lot of money, we're a caste system now. There's a book, I forget who the author is. There's a book called, I believe, Caste.
yes. I've read that book and it's been made into a movie too.
Okay, that
Yeah,
explains this. So,
absolutely.
and I do want to say, I'll say it on the front end because I have, I've been again speaking and writing and working on this topic for over 30 years now,
Yes,
and it's
yeah.
such a huge topic. So even polling shows that most Americans, and I would say most Westerners, when you ask them what the economy is, you'll get back terms like, it's kind of like a force of nature or an act of God. I mean, it feels so big that most people don't understand that what it really is a set of human systems that we have made and shaped over time and that we continue to shape and reshape all the time. So I continue to take this on because if we could build a saner vision for what we want the economy to produce, we could build toward it. A dear,
Right.
a dear friend of mine, he's a filmmaker and wrote a award-winning book called "What's the Economy For Anyway?" And that's a critical question because the billionaire class would say the economy is to just keep chewing things up, pumping it out, and making the upper echelon wealthier.
Right.
But it doesn't ask,
Right.
and the economy is actually supposed to serve society,
Right.
not have all the workers serving the growth of the
Right.
economy.
Yeah. In my research, I came across a quote by Adam Smith, who was the creator of our capitalist system, and he said, "Unless we have fellow feelings," that was what the words he used, "this will not work." Which means an ethics around it, and we have lost our ethics. I think it was one of the Rockefellers way back that did some good things and said, with great resources comes great responsibility, and we've totally lost that. And as a psychotherapist, I have about 50% of my clientele work for high tech. And they feel like they have no meaning in their life. They get big fat paychecks, but they want an exit ramp. They're asked to do, they feel exploited because they're asked to do unrealistic amounts of work with unrealistic deadlines. And a lot of them are young and have families to support. And the system is exploiting them. And you're right. I think a good economy. I've been inspired by Marianne Williamson's A Politics of Love,
Yeah.
and where she says an economy starts with education for our children so that they learn to be creative and they learn to have fun and they learn to use their gifts. That's where our investment in a good economy is. And that right now in North Carolina, and I don't know how it is nationally, but in North Carolina where I live, if you want a good education for your child, you have to live in a community that has $1 million homes.
Yeah, because right now the greatest barrier to jumping from a lower class to a higher economic class is your zip code. It's part of the brokenness of our system,
Yes. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
When I was actually serving as First Lady of Oregon, I leaned into this issue in a big way, and I launched really a government-wide initiative, the Prosperity Initiative.
Oh.
And my partner, former Governor John Kitzhaber, he's very brilliant, and he had been in public service long enough that he realized it's really hard to govern a state or a nation on a 2-year biennial budget, which is what most of them do. So while we were in these positions together, he led the development of a 10-year state budget, which could then actually show that putting money into things like education, early childhood development, preventative health care, it doesn't pay for itself dollar for dollar in 2 or 3 or 4 years, but you get to 5, 6, 7, 8, and it's the game, right? I mean, it's a
Right.
changer.
Yeah.
So he was developing that, and through this prosperity initiative, I worked a poverty prevention lens into that 10-year state budget. So it wasn't just about throwing more resources at people once they were in the crisis of poverty. It was
Right.
how do we actually go upstream and begin to address issues so that people don't get caught in it so hard in the first place. Because I will tell you, what we have here in Oregon and what we have in virtually every state is what is called the benefits cliff. If a person is on low income assistance and they're trying to climb out of poverty, they start making enough money to start doing that, and they lose things like food assistance, housing assistance so fast and at such a little low line of additional wealth, they often can't afford to do it.
They can't go up any further.
It's the poverty cliff. It keeps them in there because they can't. Those services, housing, childcare, food, are so healthcare. My God, are so expensive. If you're not on public assistance, you can't get over that cliff. And that's just built into our system now. It's the kind of thing that would get us someone to say we can't afford daycare or health care, but we can afford another 1.5 trill to go bomb the hell out of.
Because we're at war that was never congressionally mandated or reflected on.
Yeah.
Some people are paying with their lives.
Yeah, big time.
And they could be wage earners too. They could be main wage earners. So that's affecting those military families as well. And
Yeah,
not
you know,
only-
another thing that was interesting that we were doing just before John and I left office was some people listening to this may have heard of the guaranteed basic income. And what guaranteed basic income, and it's been rolled out in some states and some counties and some countries, guaranteed basic income just says we as a government are going to pay every citizen a set amount of money every month. And we had just begun running the numbers in Oregon of what would it cost to get to do like a $2,500 a month guaranteed basic income to every Oregonian. And those early numbers showed that it would be just about a wash overall cost-wise. It would be just about a wash compared to what we are already spending when people hit absolute crushing poverty and wind up
Right.
like SNAP and everything else.
Interesting. Yeah.
So for people who don't know, there is a whole big, it's been around for a couple of decades, but it's got a lot of traction now, a new economy movement. If you Google that, you will find a lot about this.
Good to know.
And guaranteed basic income could be a piece of that. And we had a trial run with it when COVID hit because a whole lot of people wound up on unemployment, right? And stimulus checks. I wound up on, because I have been self-employed for a long time, I wound up getting self-employed unemployment to the tune of about, I think it was about $2,200 a month. That helped me to fast track through ministerial school, actually, because during COVID, they removed the requirement that you had to be out looking for employment. It was just money that was going to be coming to get us through that crisis. That crisis was definitely a hit to, it was a system shock to the status quo economic model. But most people, contrary to what objectors to a GBI or guaranteed basic income were like, oh, people will quit working, they'll just go start using drugs. What? Most people didn't do that. They used it, they kept going, they launched little small businesses, got education like me, you know. On that. So these
Well,
are
core human values are that we want to learn and grow. We want to find meaning in our life. You know, people would rather not be on welfare, you know.
Exactly.
And if you want to talk welfare, you can talk about the billionaires that are getting money anyway.
Oh my
But-
gosh, exactly. And that use our infrastructure to create their vast amount of money, or people in the military, like my little brother, who are opposed to publicly funded health care, but has had it his whole life to the
Wow.
tune of thousands of dollars. He's about to retire. He's going to be pulling welfare for the rest of his life. Right? This is we can do it for certain segments of the population.
Right.
But these are the questions. I think it might have been my very first Substack now, however many, 4 years ago or whatever that was titled Questions That Matter. And it's asking these kinds of questions. What's the economy for anyway? What should it be producing? What can we really afford? You know, questions that matter.
Right. Yeah, I think somebody said in the first week of this Iran war, we could have provided housing for 1 million Americans.
Yeah, I covered some of this in the piece I did on the economic insanity.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you will send us those in an email and we will list them as part of this. And what else might viewers do, Cylvia, who are you mentioned the movement, and maybe you'll give us a link for that. So is that a good way for people to get active?
Yeah, I think so. I have some links on my website, but I will try to remember to send you some as well.
Okay.
But even if you just Google New Economy Movement, you're going to get
New
things
Economy
like
Movement.
you're going to get things like the New Economy Coalition, the Well-Being Economy Alliance, We All. There's a lot going on with this. And
Okay.
I will tell you, I meant to say this earlier and we jumped off on another fun subject, but having been at this long, I really feel like for the first time since I've been working on it, there is enough discontent
Yes.
with the status quo economic system that we have a chance to start really taking this seriously.
Yes.
The fact that, New York has elected a Democratic socialist, and some of these things are catching traction. And I also think these younger couple of generations are feeling this in a big way. And I think we have a chance to really challenge a status quo that my generation just was fed. Capitalism is all there is. And by the way, let me take a step back. When I challenge capitalism, I'll get labeled a socialist. I'm actually neither. And our system is currently a bit of both. We're capitalist, but we have socialized Medicare and Medicaid.
Right.
It's a blend of both.
Yeah.
I don't think we've yet created an economic system suited for the times that we are in. So it's about challenging what's not working, because we really need to redesign the system. And again, the economy is just a set of systems that we humans have designed.
Right. One of the things I've heard since I've started this ministry was a story by a wise indigenous elder. And he said that right now we are in the birth canal in which a new consciousness will be born. And given that we're all one, we're all inextricably there, and some of us are midwives standing outside, and we all know how messy and painful birth is. But I think that those systems that you talk about that haven't been invented yet are going to be part of that new consciousness. That's one thing that gives me some comfort.
I hope so. That's my vision, and
Yeah.
I always maintain space in my consciousness that in the field of possibilities, all of the craziness that is swirling right now can indeed be bringing us to the level
Yeah.
of system change
Yeah.
that we really need. A couple of other things for what can we do.
Yes.
So people who have been engaged in the No Kings, the protests, pro-democracy, challenging authoritarianism, have been involved in that. The next big one of those, I can't remember the date. It's in early May. I wanted to say May 5th, but May 1st, May Day. May Day.
Day.
That's what
Yeah.
it's being called. The next big action is a May Day, kind of a general strike and walkout action. And for those of us who aren't striking or whatever, it's to not buy anything.
Okay.
It's a day to check out from and
Okay.
just pull our power back
Yes.
from the existing system as a way of making another mass statement. So
Great.
that's another action.
Okay.
The more people shop local communities, and if this thing in the Strait of Hormuz continues to disrupt at the level that it's disrupting, and it is beyond what we're seeing on most media, unless you live in this crazy world like I do, it is quite likely a new world order of some sort that is playing out in the geopolitical and petropolitical realm. If that goes in certain directions, it will force a relocalization, because fertilizer for food is already hitting really hard. Supply chains are getting hit. So, building those relationships, figuring that out, how can we meet needs at a more local level? How can we check out of Amazon.com, which is too freaking easy for me as well. I get it. That's another thing to really be looking at now, because it is quite possible that we are not going back to what the economy was before
Right.
this recent current war.
And this would be a great time to step up also with alternative energy sources and
Yes,
start
ma'am.
getting those solar panels and those windmills going. Yeah. It'd be a
Yes,
great
100%. And I'm actually working. This is part of my next piece. I'm trying to be delicate because you can't just gloss over the suffering, the craziness. But I have been hearing a lot of talk, and from circles that I don't normally hear it from, that I'm investing in renewables. I'm going renewables. I don't want to be part of this anymore. And what you don't hear in most mainstream media is that renewables are now either cost effective or cheaper than fossil fuels, not even including the environmental damage. So
Right.
just straight up capital input for capital output.
Right.
So that could be part of a
An
significant
action
shift.
step.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a
Yeah.
significant shift that we're in. And a lot of places, if you've never looked into it, a lot of communities, either your utilities or your states, they have incentives to help people invest in, for instance, rooftop solar systems or community solar systems, where if you don't have a house that's designed for it well, there's like a one that's somewhere built in the community, you buy into that, you get power out of that. There's all of this going on now at a scale that we don't get told very much.
Wow, that's exciting.
It is
That's really
exciting.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. How are we doing for time?
We're doing pretty good.
Yeah, we are. Well, let's see. What else? What else?
I
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I do have one other piece that I want to throw in at some point. Doesn't have to be now.
Do it now. I mean, I am much less educated in all this. I did the spiritual part of economic justice, which includes not it includes remembering that the billionaires are divine underneath as well, and holding them in peace and love, and using our imagination to know that if they were contributing their fair share, they might feel more spiritually belonging, which is part of spirituality. And so,
Pat
I've done,
Webster, I love you. I do. I love you, and uh, as I think I shared the last time we did one of these, when we're trying to change big systems or society or culture, it's important to realize we are trying to create a whole new ecosystem.
yes,
And in an ecosystem, one species doesn't do everything. It has what they call a niche, an ecological niche. In what we're talking about here, in trying to get through that birth canal,
yes,
it's a new ecosystem, and we need that niche of spiritual wisdom that you just spoke into this. And I sometimes lose that a little bit because I have been so steeped in the economic model and in
right,
activism
right,
for so long.
right,
But I'm now a unity minister too, right? So
right,
my
yeah.
consciousness has stepped up. But
I,
I sometimes need people like you in my
oh,
ecosystem so that I can be more intentional bringing the consciousness and that inner work with me.
right,
So I
right,
appreciate that. Not everyone listening to this needs to do it all. You need to
right,
find your passion. You need to find the
right.
thing you can do to help us get that birth.
That's right. That's right. And I have during our prayer time in my church for about the last 3-4 weeks, after we do our deep meditation, then we whisper out loud people that we know need healing. I mentioned Donald Trump's name. I pray for him, and
Big
it's
of you.
and I go back to um, one metaphysical interpretation of God's uh, warning to Adam and Eve not to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That's the knowledge of dichotomous thinking in one metaphysical interpretation.
I love
Like,
that.
we're great, they're awful, they're evil, we're good, and we've got to lay that down. We've got to we are all one. We just need to keep remembering that.
Yeah, and all of this kind of activism, we spoke about this before, sacred activism, it's about going after the actions, but not
Yes,
adding to the ugliness after the actors, right? I can be mean.
me too.
I have it in me, right?
Right, me too.
I have a pretty significant social media following. I make sure I do not do that. I make sure I do not stoop to the level of ugliness
Right.
coming out of people that I even have a very visceral reaction to,
Right. And
because
it's
it does
hard.
not help. It gets easy. It's gotten easier for me, but
Uh-huh.
um,
Uh-huh.
it does not help on our overall collective level. Which really,
No.
if we're going to get through the poly crisis that we're in, it's going to require a conscious
Right.
evolution.
Right.
So
Yeah.
spewing more ugliness into collective consciousness, we're not
Oh no. Oh
evolution,
no. And Marianne Williamson says, nature, we either evolve or we go extinct.
right?
I
We
mean,
evolve or
nature's,
we devolve.
yeah,
As a culture or as a nation, you either evolve or you devolve.
that's right.
We're at that point. Two more pieces that this is in the lane again of one of the things I wanted to leave your smart listeners with, your smart listeners who are interested in an evolution in consciousness and are interested in being part of creating a world that works better for all beings. I wanted to leave them just with some questions to consider when you're hearing, quote,
Right.
the news or whatever is coming in. And one of those questions, of course, what is the economy and what's it for anyway? Um, and and questioning when it's either capitalism or socialism. There's a
Or
myriad.
something else,
Yeah, right.
like you heard about.
Here's another one. Um, we're going into an election cycle, right? God willing, we're going into a real shift
Right.
election cycle.
Right.
Let's not go there. We're going
Yeah.
into election.
It'd
So
be a
what we're
little
going to be
scary,
hearing
right?
a lot, yeah, what we're going to be hearing a lot about, we're going to be hearing politicians and candidates at all levels bragging about their record on jobs growth and bragging about how GDP has grown under their watch, right? Here's something that I was really asking when I was working on the Prosperity Initiative as First Lady, and of course, my beloved John and our administration, we were also touting jobs growth. But what kind of jobs growth? Does it really serve society to have people working two, three jobs for minimum wage just to scrape through and pay the bills? Would we maybe not be better off to have them stay home at least part time, take care of their kids, take care of their elder? I mean, it's like just growing jobs is an incomplete metric because we have too many jobs now that can't even pay basic survival.
I found in my research that 60 to 67% of people are just living from paycheck to paycheck.
Yes,
And
yes.
about 45% are getting by somehow, but not even living from paycheck to
That's
paycheck.
exactly right. And so
Yeah,
society suffers for that. And what that really is corporate welfare.
that's
Because you
right.
have the big mega corporations who pay people crappy wages. Those people then qualify for Medicaid, which is basic, or SNAP food assistance benefits, which is basically us taxpayers
Paying the billionaires.
subsidizing those corporations, right? So
That's
this is
right.
part of the upside down thinking.
Yes.
Here's the last piece I'll leave you with.
Let me
In
say one other thing just in
Of
response
course,
to
I'm
that.
sorry.
That I think, riding on the back of that, a good economic system requires that workers be stress free. They have more energy and with health insurance for everybody. So that they can get a good wage and their health care is taken care of and they're not stressing out. They're going to be more productive workers. And
100%.
yeah,
There's so much evidence to back up
right.
what you just said. I mean, it's common sense, right? But there's
Yes.
also like a lot of empirical evidence out there to support that. And
Yes.
just from a morality
Right.
perspective,
Right.
I've worked a lot of shitty jobs when I was younger just to pay the bills. The worst one was catching chickens, fryer chickens. Awful. I won't even go there.
Oh, honey.
I won't even go there. I mean, it was crazy. I'm sorry, my John just is in here. He needs to grab something. I'll grab it for him. But my heart bleeds, and I was able through, whatever. I not just through hard work, because there aren't a whole lot of people who work harder than a migrant farm worker. I'm
No,
sorry.
I am with you. I'm
Yeah,
with you.
I was able to have some things happen where I have been able to um, get to the point where I get to do work that I really care about. Do I work really hard? Have I worked? Yes, but it's work I care about. My heart bleeds for the people
Right.
who are stuck in
Meaningless, crappy
jobs that
job.
they hate,
Yeah.
that don't pay very much because they're just trying to feed their kid.
Right.
It's
Right.
soul crushing. It's
Catching
immoral.
chickens, collecting the garbage.
It's immoral, you
It
know?
is. It is.
Garbage
When I
collection.
was at Duke, when I was an undergraduate at Duke, I heard Dick Gregory. He came and made a speech at Duke, and he said, the people who should be the highest paid are the garbage collectors. And my assistant just told me about in Japan, the doctors who have no patients get paid the highest because they're keeping their patients well. So,
Yes. My,
yeah.
my beloved Governor John Kitzhaber is a former ER doc, and he has worked in healthcare reform for so long. He makes that point. We actually rolled out a version of that in
Ah,
in Oregon, which
uh-huh.
gets me to the last piece, the last
Yes.
little question I want to bring up.
Okay.
Because what happened in the example that you just gave, in healthcare systems that do that, they started asking, what should a healthcare system deliver? And what should it pay for? In our systems here in the US, it pays for all the kind of tests that you can give. It pays for highly invasive stuff. It does not pay a doctor for having a patient become a non-patient, for the healing, right? So similarly to that, in business, they often say what you measure matters, and what you measure is what you focus on. So I just want people to be thinking about this as we head into this election cycle coming up, or just life in general. We are often told that the most important thing in the economy is growth of the GDP, the gross domestic product, right? If the politicians panic if the GDP drops, they're all like, self-aggrandizing if it goes up. Here's the deal. This is the graphic that I'm going to send you.
Okay.
And Robert Kennedy, by the way, has a beautiful speech about this, about what the GDP is and isn't. The GDP simply
Robert Kennedy Sr., I'm
yes,
assuming.
senior. Thank you for sure. Thank
Yeah.
you. Hey, John, you can come grab this. Um, the GDP measures the goods and services created in and flowing through an economy. To really simplify it, it basically measures the amount of money flowing through the economy, but not whether that money is being spent in a way that makes your people better off or worse.
Right.
So in our GDP, all the money going to build these ICE prisons, that boosts GDP in our system. That makes the economy look stronger. This war, in the short term, all the money being spent there, the body bags even, boosts the GDP. It will make the economy look stronger. The Deepwater Horizon BP oil spill, for a time, in the attempt to clean up, which can never actually be cleaned up, boosted the GDP. So what we've been doing, this is the graphic I'll send. We've been growing the GDP, but I had Oregon State University create a graphic for me that shows it tracks growth of GDP, and it tracks growth of climate pollution, loss of species, escalation of plastic pollution. They all track the same.
Is
Because
that what you're going to send us? Do we get
yeah,
that back? Oh,
because we
wonderful.
have been growing the monetary activity in our system by under by overdrawing. If it were a banking account, by overdrawing our natural capital and our human capital.
Yes. Yes.
So even the guy who created the GDP, a guy named Simon Kuznets, coming out of World War, said,
Uh-huh.
don't use this as a metric for the performance of your whole society.
Right.
But
Right.
we've all hitched to it, and that's what we hear. It's not sufficient.
I couldn't agree more. And as we close out, Sylvia, I want to just say, when you talk about I mean, our goal is to inspire others to take action, and you've given us so many resources. And our North Star for this ministry has been Micah 6:8. What does God require of us but to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with God? And so I want to, really encourage people to go into principle number 4, prayer and meditation, and really know what is the action there to take. And I'm so grateful that you have given us so many resources and places people can go. So thank you so much, and I'll look forward to your mailing list, and I will post them. And of course, when this will come out, it's coming out the end of April. I'll send you the date. We're eliminating the Zoom meetings. We're not getting a big turnout on those. And my daughter says, "Mom, people don't like to be put on the spot like that." I'm that happened in my last one. So. But I remember it was a very lively one when you were on, so I'm kind of grieving that a little because you're so interesting to talk to. But I will send you when you can let your people know that about this one, and you can go on your Substack, and we'll stay in touch. And you might just come back for Earth Justice.
Well, you're sweet, and I'm certainly open to that. I appreciate you taking on this topic because I think it is a challenging one. It's a challenging one in our unity movement. Even, I mean, part of this is redefining prosperity, right? We're a movement that has a lot of prosperity teaching, and what does that actually mean?
Right.
So yeah, so there's a lot here. I'd be happy to do the follow-on Zoom thing, by the way, but whatever.
You know what? We may do that this one more time. We just may do that
There's
this one
just
more
so
time.
much here that it's very
Right.
hard to cover in a 45-minute
Yeah.
interview, and I feel I've
Conversation.
probably just overwhelmed everybody. But anyway, yes, I will send you resources, and
Okay.
I'm happy to follow up, and I really do appreciate what you're doing and what you're bringing to our New Thought movement.
Thank you so much. I think I love the way that we've been speaking from our niches. I do. Thank you. Bless you.
Bless you. Bye-bye.
Beauty for brokenness, hope for despair. Lord, in the suffering, this is our prayer. Bread for the children, justice, joy, peace. Sunrise to sunset, your kingdom increase. Shelter for fragile lives, cures for their ills. Work for the craftsmen, trade for their skills. Land for the dispossessed, rights for the weak. Voices to plead the cause of those who can't speak. God of the poor, friend of the weak, give us compassion, we pray. Melt our cold hearts, let tears fall like rain. Come change our love from a spark to a flame. Refuge from cruel wars, havens from fear. Cities for sanctuary, freedoms to share. Peace to the killing fields, scorched earth to green. Christ for the bitterness, his cross for the pain. God of the poor, friend of the weak, give us compassion, we pray. Melt our cold hearts, the tears fall like rain. Come change our love from a spark to a flame. the ravaged earth, oceans and streams, plundered and poisoned our future, our dreams. Lord, in our madness, carelessness, greed, make us content with the things that we need. God of the poor, friend of the weak, give us compassion, we pray. Melt our cold hearts, the tears fall like rain. Come change our love from a spark to a flame.
My team and I are so blessed and grateful to have been called to a social justice ministry at this time in our nation, in our world, and on our planet. If you are inspired by this ministry, and if it feels right to you to support us financially, you can do that. There are 2 links down at the bottom of this page. One is for PayPal that will allow you to donate either through a credit card or through a debit card. And the other link is to Zelle, which will be contributing from your bank account, and it will go to our treasurer. A fellow social activist reminded me that when we donate to social justice causes that inspire us, we are also doing an act of social justice. Thank you.
you.